Most men in relationships watching this will resonate with my next statement. Men today are totally checking out of committed relationships because their desire for intimacy is now being used against them by women. You know this, right? You come home one evening after a back-breaking day at work, you want to unwind, relax, and meet your spouse. One thing leads to the next, and before you know it, you have your hands all over her. You crave her and want to give her all your energies by being intimate with her. Then she stops you. "I'm tired," she says, or some such BS. Once, twice, thrice? Now this is happening too many times. One of your very few requirements as a man in a relationship is regular access to intimacy, and that too without begging for it, and without being shamed for it. So what happens when this fundamental biological drive is not being met, and that too by your own wife? This is the modern male predicament, especially in long-term committed relationships and marriage. What is sexual intimacy? If there's no sex and intimacy, what self-respecting man would want to have sex with a woman that feels like it's a chore and isn't enthusiastic about you at all? I know I wouldn't, because this is the situation I was in my committed relationship. I was frustrated, annoyed, and resentful of my partner for holding back from me the one thing from her I desired the most. I looked up answers, wanted to search more men who were facing a similar problem, and I found them. Yes, that's when I stumbled across the red pill and the manosphere. I realized truths about hypergamy and female nature I had not known, and started to take off the blue pill glasses and put on the red ones. Everything became clear as day. I was shaken off of the anesthetic of blue pill social conditioning done by media and Hollywood. I finally understood where I was and what I needed to do. Your woman likes to act dumb, get your attention, make you do the chores, and then dangle her assets like bait in front of you. You run, try to grab it. You eventually do, but by that time, it's like it's a reward, like candy for a child, like a present for you being a good boy. That is condescending and an anathema to your masculinity that you cannot tolerate. Let me give you some of the major reasons why your woman does this to you, why she holds back intimacy and uses it to tame you like a dog playing fetch. There are women who say they're not ready when you ask them why. They don't have a particular reason. This is the first kind of woman. Understand this, gentlemen. Women make rules for the betas and break rules for the alphas. If you're encountering too many rules, if you having to jump through too many hoops, realize which category you fall into in her eyes. These are women who would be more than happy to spread their legs for the alpha seed, but are keeping you orbiting around just in case the alpha jumps ship. Men, if you're still in relationships with such women who use your desires and needs against you, who don't love and respect you enough to want to be intimate with you, I don't know why you're with them. How could any man tolerate the disrespect at being treated like a puppy by her woman, all the while the bulldog is ravaging her guts out every night? Stop playing these games and be assertive in your needs. This is the only antidote to the modern epidemic of sexless marriages. Then there's another kind of woman, one that isn't the most chaste or holy woman, one that isn't holding out for marriage or is a nun. This kind of woman simply says she's scared of sex, of penetration, and of committing to a guy. These women have the desire for it, but the moment it goes any further, she recoils and refuses to go all the way. I'm slightly more sympathetic to women like these, because very often these girls have possibly faced abuse in their younger years, leaving them vulnerable and scared of the act itself, even in a loving and positive context. However, that's not to say that it's any easier on men. Men still have to button up and bottle up their desires simply because the woman is too preoccupied with sorting out her psychological issues. A man in this predicament is left with not many choices but to remain frustrated and helpless. You know, when I encountered cases like these, I start to think perhaps religious sanctions of polygamy in most parts of the world maybe make sense. Maybe if a woman at one point is not willing or capable or entertaining her husband's desires, maybe he's right in having another woman by his side. It's better than cheating, right? But sadly, most women aren't understanding enough to make sense of this and are obsessed with a rapt perception of male loyalty. This too often becomes an excuse for the woman to deny the man his intimacy and an excuse for the man to go out and seek other women. Neither of these are optimal solutions for the health of the relationship. Let's get to the third kind of woman. This is someone who thinks she deserves the absolute top-tier male she can find, and she deserves his 100% monogamous loyalty. So she waits for this special unicorn her entire youth. Just waiting until she hits the wall. But they don't realize that time is not on their side. They pass up good men, men of worth and substance, men of value. Just because they think their assets are too valuable for any man under the top 1%. So what happens when that man shows up? What happens when that woman encounters that rare kind of man that has the genes and status to give her chills down there and ready to bang his brains out? She frantically tries to lock him down, desperate to get commitment out of him, and realizing how rare that man truly is, she decides to go to any length to keep that man around. This, folks, is the modern female, with her bloated expectations from dating and her loose moral character. She passes up 99 men for the one. So what happens when she wants to lock down that high-value man? She gives up her rules, her religion, and her nature to try and please him. She sleeps with him the first chance she gets, and she makes sure the bedroom fun is the best he's ever had, the best he can hope to get from anywhere else. But sadly, my friend, she doesn't know that no matter how mind-blowing the sex, men will always want more. Men aren't designed to be locked down by one woman for life. So he uses her for the time being and then dumps her on the road when she makes too much noise because he can afford to do it. Then after years of this same mantra repeating dozens of times, she hits what is called the epiphany phase. Shout out to Rollo Tomasi, the OG red pill guru, for coining the term. This is when the woman implores, "Where have all the good men gone?" This is when reality hits like a brick wall, and she realizes there is no other option but to lower her standards and settle for the lower value man. But at least one that won't abandon her, she hopes. And then the cycle repeats with the younger women that grow up to replace her. This is the toxic modern dating dynamic, and more often than not, it is that suboptimal guy that is you. You are the guy she's settling for, while secretly yearning for the time when she got banged in the back alley by the entire soccer team. But those days are gone. Children, a husband, family, and responsibilities. Life just isn't that exciting anymore. You aren't exciting anymore. And this is the root of the modern crisis of a lack of intimacy among men. There has to be a radical shift in this unregulated dating market if we are to stop this inequality from skyrocketing with dangerous social consequence. Channels like these are meant to keep you posted about the latest dynamics in the cruel modern dating space and to arm you with the tools to put you ahead. So, like and hit the subscribe button so YouTube knows exactly what kind of highly rated content to show you next. Until next time.